Welcome to Business on the Vine. I'm your host, Lady Jen Plessis, and in this dynamic series, we dive into the challenges, breakthroughs, and victories of entrepreneurs who have turned their passion into success. Welcome. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Business on the Vine. I'm your host, Lady Jen Plessis, and with me today is Kelly. You know what? I didn't ask you how to pronounce it. Schuknecht.
Oh my gosh, that was perfect.
Okay, perfect. There we go. A nice German name. Love it.
Yes.
Yeah. My maiden name is Krabenhoft. That's fun too.
Yeah.
That's fun too. My guest today is Kelly, and we are delighted to have you here with us. Thank you so much for listening. Great businesses aren't built overnight. We need to really understand that they're cultivated with intention, resilience, right? And vision. We always have vision. And that's what we're going to be talking about today is how you created such a great business that you have, as well as what you do for people and the results that you get for them. So welcome to the show.
Thanks, Lady Jen. It's great to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited. Oh, by the way, you don't have to call me Lady Jen. You can just call me Jen. I tell everybody all the time. So for those of you listening, whenever you meet me, I'm introduced as Lady Jen, but then I just become Jenny from the block. Don't call me Jenny. Don't call me Jenny, though. That'd be awful. That would be terrible for us. But I want to take this opportunity to introduce you properly to everybody. So Kelly is a marketing strategist and thought leadership expert. I love one of the photos or the images that you have on either your website or something else where you're climbing up a mountain and you're saying, hey, here, do a podcast, write a book, and then get some speaking gigs and, get up to the top. And I really love that image because it really defines exactly what you do and how we're going to apply that to our conversation today. She's the founder of 2 Mile High Marketing. We're both Colorado people. I'm no longer live there, but I'm originally from Colorado. And, we all know about Mile High with the Denver Broncos. So I love that you've called it 2 Mile High Marketing. We'll talk about that. And she's also the host of Beyond the Bestseller podcast, where she focuses on helping authors take their book to new levels. So with that, again, welcome to the show. And I want to get started by asking the first question, which is, how did it all get started? Where did the seeds get planted for you to start your own business? Because I know you come from a corporate world.
Yeah, I do. And actually the seed planted is an interesting question because a lot of times I talk about my journey and how I lost my job and started my business, right? But before that, the seed had been planted a couple of years prior. So I actually read a book. My leadership coach when I was working in corporate was she wrote a book called What If There's More? And she asked me to read the book before it came out. And I read the book and I was like, oh my gosh, I think there's more for me. I think that I'm supposed to start my own business. And then I went and told her, well, she was my coach, and she's like, oh, no, 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 no. Like you can't, you need to just, maybe stay the course, stay here, and
oh, wow. Yeah.
But it started the thinking for me, right? Like, so I started thinking about it and I really started dreaming about it. My company had been acquired around that time. So we were now working in this bigger organization, and I just felt uneasy. Like I felt like I was going to lose my job. And so I think that seed being planted led me to start dreaming about what that next step might be. 2 years later, when I lost my job, it was like I had already had 2 years of really, what's that?
You were prepared.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were prepared.
And I'm grateful for that time because I mentally had prepared myself for the next step. I know for a lot of people, they're not that lucky, right? Like they just get laid off and, the rug's pulled out from under them. It still felt like the rug was pulled out from under me, but I mentally was ready for the next thing. And so the seed was planted, right? And then at that point, like I was ready to grow. And I started my business in November 2024. And from there, it's grown really fast. And I think somewhat because I was ready. I had a vision. I knew where I wanted to go with it.
Yeah, you had this unfair advantage to other people that, surprise, you don't have a job and now you have to start your own business if that's the only option, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it really, in a nice way, an
Yeah.
unfair advantage, right? For
Yeah.
that. Okay. So, that was wonderful. That's how the seed got planted. I love the name of that book again. What's it called again?
What if there's more by
What if
Tracy
there's
Barrett?
more? I love that. I'm going to write that down. So I'm going to write that down right now. And I don't mind doing this during my podcast, right? Because you're writing it down too, aren't you? When you're listening. um, because I have a not a motto, but some of my clients one of the clients said to me, it's Jen's dot method, right? And that really is akin to what if there's more? You and I are doing this podcast. Someone's listening to this podcast and they hang up and they go, okay, that was fun. And she's really knowledgeable. And I want to connect with her, right? All of those pieces. But then what if there's more to that? What if you applied what you're hearing here?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And I really, really love that. I love that thought, because I just use dot, right? Mine's less sophisticated, but that's beautiful. Okay. So you got into your business, so now we're talking about the development and the strategy and expansion or even execution in your business. And people that are listening here are, novice business owners. Maybe they're making that transition. Maybe they're stuck and need to go to a higher level. Where did you have to cut back so that you could grow? Right now, so all the questions I'm going to be asking you are about vines, right? Because there's a pruning or a trimming that gets done. We have this yin yang of growth, right? You get some growth and oh, maybe that wasn't the right way. Maybe I should have done it differently. Maybe it's the wrong road. I need to prune it back so it can grow fuller. So what are some areas that you found that, I don't need to do that so that you could grow?
Yeah, I think I'm actually going through a little bit of that right now, like in real time, right? So
Mhm.
um I don't want to say too much because there are some things I think I'm gonna cut out of what I'm doing, but
Right.
I'll just tell you.
Yeah.
So you led with that podcast that I have, Beyond the Bestseller.
Yes. Yeah.
When I started my business, I envisioned myself working primarily with female business owners.
Mhm.
That's what I
Mhm.
saw. And so I started this podcast where I feature female authors of nonfiction books, thought leaders in their space, right? And so that
Right.
was a part of my vision. And what I found out in the first year of my business was I was going out and speaking. I was talking to people and realizing that women tend to be do-it-yourselfers, right? We tend to be a lot of women are solopreneurs who have small businesses and they want to do things themselves.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like that's totally fine, right? But often because of that, they don't have the budget to hire an agency to do the things that will help them grow as a thought leader, right? They want
Mhm.
to get clients. They're not thinking of like growing a large business. I'm
To
not saying,
attract clients, right? Rather than going out and having to get them.
yeah, and I
Yes.
don't mean all women, but
Right.
has
Yeah.
been my experience. When I go out and speak, these women will come up to me and they're like, I want to do this, and I'll talk with them about, how we do things in the agency. And it's like, oh, they can't, they can't hire an agency, right?
Right.
So
Right.
I actually, and what I found is that 80 to 90% of my clients are men who are running larger companies. And so I
Mhm.
actually have decided to start a new podcast. So
Are you
not
going to keep
just
your old one?
for now. And that's
Yeah.
where I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much, but
Right. Right.
I'm on about I'm in the 70s for my episode number. So I think I release one every week. So I want to get to 100 and then make a decision about whether or not I
Mhm.
want to continue that.
Mhm.
So that
Mhm.
may be something I'm pruning. Maybe not, but
Right.
maybe, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I think that some of that is like you just learn as you go what's working, what's not working, what's making sense for your target audience, and where your energy should be focused. Because if you're focusing your energy on the wrong things, you're busy, but you're not seeing the results of that effort, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I call that the busyness of business.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really about training the vines, right, so to speak, for optimal results. When you go into, if you've ever been to a vineyard, that there's a lot of clipping and tying and training the vines, to get the optimal results. And I think that's what you're sharing with us is, just training yourself to recognize and see, what is working and what isn't working. And share with me a little bit about this for our audience too, this is what I see in business, as a coach myself, as a consultant, is that there's no tracking. There's so much busyness that no one is stepping back. I always say slow down to speed up so you can speed up, right? It's just slow down to speed up because there's no tracking, right? Yeah. And so is this a gut instinct that you have? Is it intuitive? Is it a financial realization that you have? Share us a little bit about that, about how do people discover this?
Yeah. Well, so I want to go back for a second to talk about the change that I'm making, like with the podcast, because I don't want to say that I have given up on helping women business owners. What I saw from that was that there's a different need there. And so I actually wrote a book, and I'm in the final stages. I think by the time you publish this episode, it should be coming out, right? So it's called Unlocking Your Authority X Factor. And that book is intended for that audience of women who want to do it themselves or have to do it themselves right now because they're small and they want to grow a personal brand, but they need some guidance and help along the way. So, so I wanted to have something to offer them when they, if their budget is that they can't afford what we do, here's, the thing the way that I can help you. Right.
Yeah.
And there will be a course coming out along the same lines, right? So helping women, small business owners in their journey to become thought leaders in their space and grow their personal brand. But when it comes to, looking at what's working, what's not working and deciding, how to, going back to your question there, for me, I often reflect on where are my clients coming from? So I will look at, just kind of look at that list every so often and remind myself of where folks are coming from, because that's what matters, right? Like, so, I can go out and do marketing can be really fuzzy, right? When you're building awareness, you don't always feel the results or see directly the results of what you're doing when you're going out.
Because you're in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you might go out and speak. I just spoke yesterday at the Competitive Marketing Summit. I spoke there, right? I might not hear from somebody for 6 months or a year after, right? So it feels like, was it worth it? Well,
right.
Today,
right. Oh, because we want that instant gratification, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing things that you're not seeing direct results from, right? So some of that is gut, right? Some of it is building your funnel from a marketing standpoint where you're building awareness, you're nurturing your leads. You've got to give it some time to see the results of your effort, but also being very analytical, looking at where your clients are coming from and then doubling down on the things that are working, right? So I know I'm a part of a couple of organizations where I get clients from those organizations regularly. So obviously I want to show up in that organization as much as possible, right?
Yeah. That's it. And that's what, I see a lot of business owners, years ago, I was in BNI and I was in BNI for 7 years. I was an ambassador and I would see them, the same person every year, right? They never changed. They never grew. They were just kind of going along with the flow of things. And, if I ever had the chance to sit down with them, it was like, so how much business have you gotten from BNI? Oh, a lot. Really? Do we actually know? Or is it feels like it, right? Because it can feel fun. It can feel like it. And, that's when you can make a decision. Do I stay because it's fun? Or do I really want to make business on it? And this is, I have a podcast course called the Golden Mic about this, is that, hey, if you're on a podcast, it's fun, right? Isn't it fun? Kelly, podcasting is fun, right? It's so fun. It's really fun, but do you want to have a revenue stream as a result of it? and being able to make those decisions. I think that's so important. It's like growing vines. Look, we own a vineyard. This is why it's all about this. We grow vines, and then we're like, oh, that we didn't even like that varietal. It's horrible, right? And it's like, oh, chop it all down. No, maybe not. It's how do we infuse that in,
Yeah.
instead of letting it go sometimes? How do you infuse it in and say, how do I recalibrate that? And I love that you're doing this. That's what you're doing, is saying, okay, well, maybe that's not my direction in that particular podcast, but here's the book that I'll do with it, which is, by the way, your expertise that we're going to talk about. Here's the book and how I'll create a course around it and maybe continue to speak on it. It's an and. It's not an either or. It's an and, right?
Right.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you said that. So let's stay in this for just a minute. I know one of the things that you do is talk about being invisible to influential. It's so funny. I have invisible to invincible.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love it. But it's being invisible to influential as a thought leader. One of the things that Grant Cardone says is best known is always better than best, right?
Yeah.
Best known is always better than best.
Yeah.
And I had someone who worked for me years ago, and he said, I don't like networking. I don't like marketing. And those of you listening, right, you might be thinking that same thing, as I don't want to be influential, right? I don't want to get out there. I'm afraid to get out there. And he used to say to me, if they only knew how good I am. And I said, exactly.
Right.
If they only knew, right? But you won't go ahead and do that. So one of the things that you say is stop being your industry's best kept secret. So give us some framework, some baby steps that people could take. Now, for those of you that I don't want the baby steps, I want bigger steps. You can connect directly with Kelly. Okay. Yeah. But give us some baby steps for someone who maybe is a little apprehensive about it.
Yeah. So I think of myself as that person. Exactly. Right. I think part of why I wanted to focus on women in my business is that I have a heart for women who are behind the scenes. And that's how I spent 20 years of my career. I helped male CEOs, just happen to be male. It's not a male and female thing, but happen to be male CEOs grow their businesses to, multiple millions of dollars, and nobody knew who I was. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whenever I talk to women about that, so many women are like, oh, that's me too, right? We are support people. We are behind, we tend to be behind the scenes supporting other people. We see them as in my case, I saw my bosses as the visionary, the lead. Yes. The decision maker, the big picture thinker, whatever. And I was just good at getting stuff done. Right. And so that's what I did. And I worked my butt off around the clock to get stuff done. Well, it was uncomfortable for me to step out of that and to put myself in the spotlight, to start doing podcast interviews, to put myself on stages. You've seen some of my social media, Jen, and you see, I'm promoting myself and my stuff. Often it feels weird, it does.
Yeah. Well, I think it does for a lot of people, Kelly. I mean, I know it is for me. I'm very private.
Yeah.
This personality it's my personality, right? But only after I get to know you.
Yeah.
Right. In the real world, I'm the one who's on the wall. I'm the wallflower. I don't walk in going, what?
Yeah.
Exactly. I think a lot of people are like that, especially people that are serious about their business.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, right? So it's like, I'm serious about my business. I want to grow it, but I don't want to put myself out there. Yeah. Those things don't go together, right?
They don't,
so
right.
Baby steps for me were, I started doing really, one of the things I started doing was video content. I mean, and this is a perfect example. You and I are talking on video, but I started doing, podcast interviews. I started doing videos on TikTok. I would take certain videos that applied professionally. I would post those on LinkedIn. It feels uncomfortable, right? But I started doing it because I knew I needed to get more comfortable with people looking at me, with talking, off the top of my head about things. I needed to get more comfortable with it. And so that's what I tell people, that is the first step. It doesn't have to be video content, doesn't have to be exactly what I did, but starting to do things that make you uncomfortable, if you know that that is going to be the key to your growth, right? Another one of the books that you can write down that I recommend is Personality Isn't Permanent by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Have you read it, Jen?
No, I haven't
Oh,
even heard of it.
I,
Yeah.
I saw a smile on your face, so I thought, oh, maybe you're
I know, I
familiar with
like
it.
the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about that book is he talks a lot about trauma in your life, like trauma that causes you to be a certain way. And the whole book, I was like, I don't have any trauma. Like, what does he talk? Like, I don't, but I got past the word trauma and I started thinking about what's holding me back. And
Hmm.
for me, it was public speaking and not wanting to put myself in the spotlight. Like I knew if I wanted to be the CEO of a company, I have to put myself in the spotlight. I have to be able to get on a stage, right? And so that's why I was very intentional about I've got to start doing video content and getting used to that, right? So that book is great because your whatever's holding you back may be something different, right? But reading
Right.
that book helped me dig that out and understand what I needed to work on in order to grow, right? You talk about growth. Like how can I grow in my career even if you're staying in your job, or even if even if you already feel like you got it all, you got it all under control, whatever. But I think everyone can push themselves a little bit more, and that book is great for that.
Yeah, I love that. So I want to just go a little deeper with that a little
Yeah.
bit. Because when marketing people talk about you need to do video content and stuff, I know a lot of people freeze, right? And I know what I would do. I want to know what you would do.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you tell someone who says, there's two parts to this, okay? So bear with me, Kelly. I don't have content. I feel like an imposter. So we'll stay over there in that
Yeah.
side. I don't have content. I feel like an imposter because, they just, and I do have to put some context behind here. You are an expert. You do have credibility.
Right.
You do have
Right.
influence, etc., in what you did before, right? And even in what you're doing perhaps now. It's recognizing all of that, even if you step into entrepreneurship, into business, that you're still carrying those skills with you. You are
Right.
not an imposter
Right.
at all. Okay. You may have a new company, you may be learning funnels, you may be learning affiliates, but you have brought all this beautiful experience with you. And so you're not an imposter. But what do you say to them about, I don't have any content? And then the second part of that question is, I'm just going to say this quote: perfection prevents profits.
Yeah.
I'll let you run
Absolutely.
with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the first part of your question, my response to that is read my book because that is exactly what that book does is it helps you see that your skills and experiences that you have are unique and they're valuable to other people, even if you just take them. We take it for granted. We take our own skills and experiences for granted.
Yeah.
And where I learned that was I worked the first half of my career, I worked in publishing. And I didn't think anything of it. Like I worked in publishing, I helped people, with getting their books out there into the world. And so many people in my life would say things to me like, "Oh, I bet you read books all the time." And, I've always wanted to write a book, can you help me figure out how to publish this? Whatever. Like I was getting these questions, again, still taking it for granted for a long, long time. And when I finally started leaning into that and going, how can I better help people with getting their book out there into the world? And when I was no longer in publishing, I turned it into a side hustle where I was coaching authors, and helping people write and publish their book. It was something that I didn't think anything of, but when I started being aware of what people were coming to me and asking me about, I realized that I had knowledge that was not common knowledge. I still to this day am shocked when people are like, I wrote a book and I don't, you're like, what do I do next? I'm like, it's so easy. Like you just, but it's like because I
But to
live.
you, it's easy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, it's a perfect segue, right? It's a perfect segue into the book. Is just the beginning on how to monetize that message. And one of the very specific things I want to ask you about is, yes, okay, so write a book, right? You have content. One of the things I'll share with everybody, one of the things that we are doing right now is every 10 to 15 podcasts, you signed the release for it, Kelly. Every 10 to 15 podcasts, we are transcribing the podcast. We have your photo, right? We already have your photo. your headshot. We already have your bio. We already have a link to your an affiliate link to your something that you're giving to our guests here. We already have all that, and we're making an ebook.
Yeah.
Right. So you're already going to be an author. Anybody who's on my podcast is already going to be an author if they're not an author. Right?
Yeah.
And so it's transcribing. If you're listening and you have a sales meeting, you're a CEO. When Kelly said stage, you need to get on stage. Some people might go, no, we're not talking about the 5,000 people that I'm on a stage with, or that you're on a stage with. We're talking about the stage of, you have to have a sales meeting. You have to have a board of directors meeting. That is a stage. That's a stage. Record yourself, because the nuggets you're dropping can be the content for your book. It can be the content for your post, any of those things. But what do you say about, and so I'm just giving those little things, but Kelly, what do you tell someone who's listening and say, well, I already wrote a book, but I wrote it 10 years ago. I wrote it 5 years ago and it's kind of dead. Maybe I should write a new book, or should I revive that book? Should I repurpose that book? Could I go back to that book so that it can have an impact on my business?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a book is a great tool for anyone who wants to be known as a thought leader in their space, right? So if you wrote a book and you never published it, which I have done that before, right? I've gone through
sitting there
80% of the way or whatever and just never got over that last 20%. Then absolutely pick it up, go through it, update it if you feel like there's stuff that might be outdated or whatever, but push yourself forward. I think the best thing to do in that case, if you haven't published it yet, is give yourself a deadline. Give yourself something that you're working towards.
Yeah. Parkinson's law.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. And just, and start making it happen. I did that with mine the week of Thanksgiving last year. I took the week off and I was like, this is all I am doing this week. I am working on this book, right? I got it done that week. Yeah. But anyway, so if it's something that you have published and you didn't see the results that you thought you should see, I would revisit it as well. I would go back and I would, one of the things I did, and I'm really grateful I did this, even though I am such a, it's like I set a deadline. I want to move forward. I don't want any obstacles. I just want to get it done. Right. So it was really hard for me, but I set a 4-week time period where I invited beta readers. So I had 10 people read my book and give me feedback. So I just had to wait. I had to wait 4 weeks, and that was torturous, right?
Yeah, because you're waiting. Oh gosh, what are they going to say?
Well, yes. And my fear was, what if they come back with things it's going to take me longer to revise this book, or things that I have to, just massive editing.
Again, pruning. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But that feedback, actually, there weren't major changes. There was a few things where I had some repetitive stories, things that they caught that were helpful to get, clarify. Right. That feedback. Yeah. But really what it did was it built my confidence, because I got such great feedback where they were like, wow, this was really helpful. Like, I've never had it put this way. I've never, understood this concept before. And so then I was like, I cannot wait to publish this book, because I feel like it's really ready. So if you've published something and you didn't go through that kind of process, I would find 5 to 10 trusted people who you can have read it, who are interested in the topic, and ask them, read it, give me, make any comments in the document, give me feedback, ask them specific questions about it. And then put out a second edition, right? Like, nothing's hurt from doing that, but try again if you didn't see results. Because now when I say results, I'm not saying you're not going to publish a nonfiction, or I'm assuming nonfiction in this scenario, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You're not going to publish a nonfiction book and become a millionaire. Like, that's not the purpose.
I already know.
Right. Yeah, but the purpose is to reach your target audience. Maybe it's to get clients. Maybe it's to sell your service. It's to build awareness for what you do. I mean, there's so many results from having a book out there, right? So it's, if you didn't see the results you wanted, maybe assess what those results were that you were expecting, and think about how that book plays into your business, how it helps with your personal brand and your goals there, because that's the results that really that book is intended for.
Yeah. Kelly, can you give us one strategy that you've used with your book that has resulted, it's aged well, right? It's really, this strategy has aged really well to help you get results. One strategy, because there's multiple strategies, but what have you done?
I would say, so one of the things I recommend and what I have done myself is showing up on LinkedIn 2 to 3 times a week. I had a year where I actually posted, I think 5 days a week. So Monday through Friday,
Mm-hmm.
every day I posted something.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like in the moment, you may not feel the results of that, but I had a sales call last week with somebody who has been following me for 7 years on LinkedIn and was like, "Oh yeah, I've been following you forever, and thought that you might be able to help me with this." He reached out. So it's the showing up regularly. So I said I did 5 days a week. Just do two, right? Like do a Tuesday and a Thursday every week. Post something,
Video
something you
content,
can
yeah.
share. Yeah, video
Yeah. A
content.
quote, an excerpt from your book if you have one.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that showing up regularly ensures that people remember that you exist and that you're there when they need what you offer.
Yeah, that's the buying window, right? That's the buying window.
Yeah.
Just a whole other strategy that I'll talk about another time. But yeah, that's understanding the buying window. Yeah, I think that's really important. What other I don't even know how I want to answer. What have you done like when you're navigating through, different seasons of your business? Um, and droughts there, right? And uncertainty is there. Because this could be where someone is right now listening in and saying, well, I
Right.
could try the book, or I could try this, or I could try this. And we want to step away from the shiny object syndrome, right? How have you navigated through that drought?
Well, I'm still pretty new, so I'm only about a year and a half
Yeah.
in, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know what those, I don't know, like what the seasonality of my business is yet.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed was starting in October, people start saying, "Yeah, like I really want to do this. I'll put it in the budget for next year." Right? And then it's like, "Oh, okay, so I won't hear anything for 3 months."
Right.
Um, kind of but the first one I thought was weird, and then I realized like, oh, this is what people do. Like it was several people. And so one of the
Mhm.
things for me, I learned that it was like, make a note about this for next year, right? Is like, do not hire anyone in late in the year, right? Don't plan on hiring in the last quarter because we need to make sure that, that we can get through that, weather that storm of kind of a little bit of downtime. We still got some new clients in the fourth
Right.
quarter, but it felt way slower than I was expecting. And then you think you'll hit the ground running in January, but it takes a little while for things to ramp back up again, so that's what I saw. So I just kind of prepared myself for this next year to know that don't plan, like if I'm forecasting, do not plan on sales that last quarter. Do not plan on making any decisions that affect the finances that quarter. And just know that, that things come back after the holiday
Yeah.
craziness. So yeah, that's one of the things for
Yeah,
me.
that's interesting. Yeah. And I do think that different businesses have different cycles
Yeah.
because, October, November, December is fantastic for landscapers getting ready for winter or, whatever it
Yeah.
is. I mean, this is one of the reasons that I work, most businesses, at least, if you're incorporated, right, work on a fiscal year, that we file taxes on a fiscal year. I actually work on a fiscal year for my business plan. So I work on my business plan August and September, and October 1st is day one for me.
Yeah.
And so we use all of October, November, and December to be pushing out new marketing strategies, new attraction strategies, so that in January we hit the road running. Because a lot of people are saying, well, I'll do my business plan January 1st. And then so you're waiting for success to hit you March and April,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think there's two thoughts there, but yeah, again, it's that awareness that you have and that tracking that you have that says, look, my client does this.
Yeah.
So it's important as you're listening to us, what does your client do? Right.
Right.
Okay. So I know you have a gift for us. And we'll have the link below and everything, but tell us about the gift. What is the gift that you have for us?
Yeah, so we have a scorecard.
Mhm.
We actually have two, Jen. So did
Yep.
we give you the personal brand scorecard or the thought leader scorecard?
Thought leader.
Okay, perfect. So the thought leader scorecard is for anyone who is thinking about developing their thought leadership platform. They're very similar. So, I
Mhm.
just wanted to
Yeah.
know which direction we were going
Which
there. But
direction? Yeah.
yeah, again, because I developed the thought leader scorecard and then realized I needed kind of a different level one for people who are in a different phase in their business, right? But the thought
Yeah.
leader scorecard, it takes 3 minutes to go through. It's really quick. It asks you some questions. It's thought provoking as you're answering the questions. It makes you think about some things, right? But then also at the end, it gives you a score and it tells you where you fall as a thought leader, kind of on a spectrum, right? And then what are some of those things that you could be working on in order to develop your platform, like kind of get to the next level. So it's a great resource for anyone who's just thinking
Oh,
about this and
yeah.
like kind of
Yeah.
wanting to know what to do to get better.
Yeah. It's a gap map,
Yeah,
right? It's where the
yeah,
gaps. Here we
yeah.
go for it. Okay. So let me ask you this. If your business was a wine, okay. So I don't know if you like ice cream. I don't know if you like beer, right? Different cookie flavors. It doesn't matter, right? But if your business was a wine, a fine wine, how would you describe its character today?
Oh my goodness.
Right? It's like, oh, it's sweet, it's bold, it's developing, is it, what are you still allowing to mature?
Yeah. I think that so I'm a red wine fan and
Yeah.
and I would say it's not the high end, $200 a bottle wine that I would get if I go to dinner in Aspen, which is over the hill from me. It's the practical, I like my Bordeaux. I'll get a bottle of Bordeaux for $20 or so. It's that bottle that's like maybe not the highest end, right? It's got some room
Right.
to grow and
And it sounds like it's a
also,
blend.
yeah, it's a
It's
blend
still
of,
a
yeah,
blend. Yeah.
yep. And yeah, and I think that yeah, it's developing, right? It
Yeah.
within the first couple of years of business, I think that's probably, what to expect, right?
Yeah.
So that would be my
I
answer.
love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Kelly. I know we have so much more that we could uncover, but what do you want to say to someone who's listening? What's falling on your heart right now that says, here's what you want to give them. Here's what you want to tell them to do,
Yeah.
to take action on.
My biggest message that I talk to people about is really like put yourself out there. You can do more than you think you can. You are
Mm,
capable of more than you, especially those women out there who keep themselves small because they think that that is who they are, right? But you actually are capable of so much more, and it just takes a little bit of uh, putting yourself out there and doing things that might make you slightly uncomfortable until you get more comfortable with it.
yeah. And it takes time, right? I mean, good wine takes time.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Sometimes it takes time. Some pieces of wine, some types of wine you can drink right away and they're perfect, and others need more time. So there's aspects of your business that you can take action on, and there's aspects that take a little bit more time to do. But knowing where you stand on thought leadership, through the assessment that you have gifted us, is going to help you accelerate, right? Help you
yeah.
accelerate much faster. Yeah. Kelly, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being here today and giving us all this wisdom that you have.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah, of course. So if today's conversation resonated with you, just take a moment, right? And reflect on what you're cultivating in your business. And we look forward to seeing you the next time on Business on the Vine. Catch you later. Thank you for joining us on Business on the Vine. If you found value in today's conversation and would like additional support, go to supportfromjen.com. Remember, the best ideas are always discovered on the vine. So keep innovating, stay inspired, and continue to grow.